First take, the shocker of the offseason happened Monday as the Browns traded 5-time first-team All-Pro and 2-time Defensive Player of the Year Myles Garrett to the Rams for defensive end Jared Verse and 3 draft picks, including a 2027 first. Garrett has had at least 14 sacks in each of the last 5 seasons, including an NFL record 23 last year, the most of any player since sacks became an official stat in 1982. Here's what Myles Garrett had to say in his parting words to the Cleveland faithful. Quote, "What can I say with complete honesty is this. I gave the city everything I had. I suited up and wore those colors with pride, and I don't regret a second of being part of this storied franchise. Every Sunday, every offseason, every play, every down, every moment, you gave me more in return than I could ever repay. The best days for this franchise are ahead." Damian Woody, Peter Schrager, back with us here on First Take. D. Wood, did Cleveland make the right decision in trading away Myles Garrett?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You could make the case that they should have done it last year. I think this is all about understanding where you are as a program. For as great as Myles Garrett is, it was absolutely time for them to make a move because they are on 2 different timelines. And when I'm talking about the Cleveland Browns and Myles Garrett. Last season against New England Patriots, Myles Garrett had 5 sacks against the New England Patriots, and they lost by 19 points. Think about that. 5 sacks, and you still got blown out of the game. He set the single-season sack record, and the Cleveland Browns were 5-12. He just, at the end of the day, he made no impact as far as winning football games. And that has nothing to do with Myles Garrett. It has more to do with where Cleveland as an organization is in their timeline. Now, I will say this about Cleveland. I know a lot of people don't want to hear this. I actually really like what the Cleveland Browns have done over the past couple seasons. Last season in the 2025 draft class was outstanding. Maybe the best draft class of any team in the National Football last year. Combined what they've done this year and the assets that they're bringing along, I think Cleveland will have an opportunity moving forward to go out and get their eventual quarterback. And you drop that eventual quarterback with this roster that they're building, then Cleveland will be on their way. But Myles Garrett, again, on 2 different timelines with the Cleveland Browns.
And clearly, they're not in a position to win right now. No. And even the last couple of years, 125 career sacks, 47 of those came when his team was trailing. So if you look at the Browns today, Peter, are they in a better position? Maybe not for 2026, but when they are in position to go get their quarterback to then start building.
You have to make the right picks. I go back to the Sixers and the trust the process. Like, it was all great in theory that you trade all these assets and you collect draft picks. You have to nail the picks. The Thunder, they nailed the picks they got for Paul George. The Sixers did not, taking those picks that they had early on, and it could be Markelle Fultz, whoever. The Browns have to nail these picks now. I will say this. They didn't auction off Myles Garrett. This wasn't, hey, Myles Garrett's up for sale. What's the best deal we can get? Jared Verse was the reason they traded Myles Garrett. They viewed Jared Verse as a player that could someday be Myles Garrett, and that this will not be some crazy drop-off with Jared Verse being added to their defense. They're going to eventually pay Jared Verse huge money, and they're going to do so knowing that he was a player who was Defensive Rookie of the Year and was a first-team Pro Bowler, not an alternate like so many of these guys get to go to the Pro Bowl because 18 guys say no. No, he was a Pro Bowler twice in his first 2 years and a pure Pro Bowler, voted to that team. They view at 26 years old, entering the prime of his career, while this team is just about to ascend, they view this as maybe the better fit with the additional picks than having Myles Garrett and saying we're going to have the best player on defense, but we're also going to be an atrocious team on the field for the next 2 years. I think the arrow is pointing up, but gosh, I understand if Browns fans are waking up and saying, Andrew Berry, what have you done? Why do you get my approval? Why do you get my roses? You haven't done anything. Those picks mean nothing until you nail the players.
Well, y'all are right about that, but 2 things can be true. You can be absolutely right about that, and you could also acknowledge that they made the right move here. When you acquire a guy like Jared Verse, that matters. Okay, when you do that and you get additional picks as well, and you're going to be loaded with picks down the line, that certainly is going to help you improve your roster. So we all know, we all understand that. At least there appears to be a plan in place, and ultimately it's addition by subtraction from the standpoint that Myles Garrett, as much of a stud as he is, he's a one-man wrecking crew. He can't do it by himself. But I would like to remind people, Cleveland had the 14th ranked defense in terms of points allowed, but they were 4th in yards allowed and 3rd against the pass. You know what that tells us? That their defense is pretty damn good, damn near close to elite. The real problem was their offense stunk. Okay, because they have one of the worst offenses in football because they're bereft of weapons. And so when you understand that, you recognize the fact that in order to improve in terms of elevating your level of personnel, you're going to have to get picks. You're going to have to get draft capital in order to pull that off. And that's what they've been accumulating in recent memory. So we got to give credit where credit is due and acknowledge at least that much, if nothing else, about them. But in the end, let's understand who Myles Garrett is and the fact that he deserves what he got too in terms of being moved to a contender. 30 years of age, 9 years in the NFL, only 2 playoff wins, only 2 playoff berths, and only 1 playoff win in his 9-year career. 125.5 sacks, most of the NFL since 2017, which is a Browns record. 413 quarterback pressures, most of the NFL during this time. 149 tackles for a loss, most of the NFL during this time, and 8 straight double-digit sack seasons, plus he's a 2-time NFL Defensive Player of the Year, 7-time Pro Bowler, 5-time first-team All-Pro. The brother has done everything he could possibly do. And remember, when he first came into the NFL, understand the level of torture that he has been subjected to. Myles Garrett came into the National Football League in 2017, his rookie year. Peter Schrager, Damian Woody. What was their record his rookie year?
They didn't win a single game, Stephen A.
0-16. So he came. So understand, this is not a franchise that was here and now they're going in the wrong direction and he wants to go elsewhere. Oh, no. His initiation into the NFL has been hell. He started off his NFL career. He came into the league in 2017 and didn't win a game until 2018. Didn't win a game. And this ain't the NBA or hockey or something like that where, you know what, you're playing in the fall and then it goes into the new year in the spring. Oh, no. When we say he went a year without winning, it was really a year. This brother didn't win a damn game, okay? That's how he was introduced to the National Football League. He has been subjected to football purgatory, to absolute torture on the gridiron for the better part of the last 9 years. And finally, he has been relieved of his misery. He's been put out of his misery. This is a great, great day for Myles Garrett, who deserves it. And the Cleveland Browns, for them to be moving in a forward direction, they're lucky they got that, because with the stuff they gave him to work with, they didn't even deserve that much.
Yeah, well, the way you get out of football purgatory is by drafting well and going to get players in free agency, making good trades. Peter, they've got 11 picks in 2027. There's this big question now, is the quarterback of the future on the roster? It very well could be Deshaun Watson, because if he plays well this year, there's a very real question to be had about extending him beyond when his contract's up. Or with the draft capital that they do have right now, how do you see them potentially answering that issue in 27, knowing that this is the second year in a row they're going to have multiple firsts?
Last year in the first round, they traded back in the Travis Hunter deal, and they got Mason Graham, and they said, we're going to collect some more draft picks in the following year. They also got, in that draft class, Harold Fannin, who is a legitimate tight end, Quinshon Judkins, who's a #1 running back, Carson Schwessinger at linebacker, who has been outstanding in 1 year with Cleveland. They did make the right picks last year, and we don't know about the 5th-round pick, Shedeur Sanders, who, by the way, played well in moments last year and could also compete for that job. But I would think with all these bounty of picks and the 11 picks in next year's draft, including 2 first-rounders, it gives them great flexibility to draft the quarterback of the future, whether it is Arch Manning or it's Moore out of Oregon, or you name the prospect that is going to be getting the buzz come January, March, and obviously into the draft. It's all there with the capital. To me, my question is, okay, you make that pick. Are you then suddenly in a better place than you were with Myles Garrett than you would have been without?
That's the hard part, because this front office showed us last year they could draft really well. Obviously, this year remains to be seen how these picks work out, but they always seem to have a bevy of this draft capital because of the trades that they make, because they're offloading talent that they know that they're wasting. I think that you guys all make great points that this is the time to do it. Hell, they moved Onus dates in his contract.
Hold on, Courtney. Hold on.
Okay.
Excuse me, you're missing one very important point. We're assuming people are going to want to come there. Like, let's say, for example, you're the number 1 overall pick. You got certain cats that went like this. I don't want to play for that franchise. Eli Manning did it. You understand? I mean, I might not want to go there because the alarming level of ineptitude that has permeated through this franchise is undeniable. And you might Peter Schrager, Damian Woody. You might Arch Manning. He wouldn't be the first Manning. He wouldn't be the first Manning that did that. Let's say it's your boy Arch Manning. I want to go to Cleveland. I want to have a career, and I want to be in Cleveland. When have they shown me anything? Mm-hmm. We got to take that into consideration, too. That's how bad this franchise has been. And then you go out there and you give Deshaun Watson a $230 million guaranteed, trying to reset the damn market. And how that work out? Now, we don't understand. We got to remember, Deshaun Watson may have gotten himself in trouble off the field, but nothing explains the precipitous drop-off. Have you seen somebody that elite as he was in Houston? And I know he's had some injuries, don't get me wrong, but I'm talking about the drop-off in his performance. I mean, it's rare you see that, y'all. It's rare you see that. Something going on in Cleveland. And then Stefanski gets out of there, and he immediately picks up a job in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? You're looking at people are looking at it like, it's Cleveland. It ain't him. It's Cleveland. It ain't the player. It's Cleveland. It ain't the coach. No. It damn sure ain't the fans, so it's got to be the organization. That's how everybody's looking at it. Am I lying? Am I lying, Peter?
Could you imagine a quarterback went to Cleveland and actually won there?
I can imagine a lot of things.
That is Jalen Brunson coming to New York and leading the Knicks. That is Karl Anthony Towns coming here and getting the Knicks over the top. That's the kind of hero worship that quarterback would take. And that's why, if I'm Arch Manning or I'm Moore, I'm not saying, no, that's too tall a task.
We ain't knocking the city. We ain't knocking the city. It's a great sports town. You understand what I'm saying? The Browns and their faithful are who they are. We're talking specifically about the organization. We ain't talking about talk radio. We ain't talking about the fans. We ain't talking about local TV. We're not talking about the recognition of the Browns brand or whatever. We're talking about the organization under Haslam. I mean, the fact is, it ain't been anything to write home about.
See, you can't run from the smoke, Stephen A. You can't run from the smoke.
People have, though. People have. I did it, but they have. Many people have.
The real greats,
y'all know it's true.
They take on the smoke.
We're going to have to see if they do anything with these picks. That's